Hi, this is Emily McKavanagh from Level Up Performance Coaching. And today I want to talk about changing your narrative. So I want to go from a this sucks to I got this. And I know a lot of my athletes right now are feeling frustrated and feeling disconnected. And I don't want to take those feelings away from you. I want you to first be able to share those feelings and have them be acknowledged, because this is a really uncertain time, and it's a time of uncharted territory for a lot of us. So we're all just trying to kind of figure out what are the best practices. But one thing I can tell you is that I suck, that attitude is not going to help things get better during this time. But that we got this, or that I got this attitude will. And I want to share just a little background of how I got connected to visual performance coaching. This has been something that I've been practicing for a really long time. And I chose to use this time of quarantine to complete my certification with Performance Edge Coaching. And I'm really excited about that. The doctor that I worked with is a psychiatrist of sports psychology, and she is just amazing and has worked with a variety of different athletes in a lot of different categories. I've also been an owner and a trainer at a fitness studio. I currently own the Fit House in Manchester by the Sea. And I have been using empowering fitness for many years, something that many of my athletes didn't even realize we were doing. But through the physical challenges that I would create, I would really try and challenge them emotionally as well and get them to work through some of the challenges that they've had. Personally, I love visualization. It's been a part of my life for a long time. I first learned about it in high school when we had a football team that was really struggling. And the new coach that was hired came in and introduced our school and our town to this new concept of visualization. And every day before practice, he would bring his team into a classroom and he would spend about an hour talking with them and creating their narrative. And the team went on to have a really successful season. We ended up playing in a Super Bowl game at Foxborough. Unfortunately, we did not win, but as we all know, there's a lot of great lessons to be learned from losing just as much as from winning. And one of the best lessons that I think we all learned as a community was this stuff is really powerful, and it can really change the way you engage with your athletes and the type of success that they can have and the way they can feel about themselves, both physically and emotionally. So I started using visualization because I was a gymnast, and I was a bit of a head case as a gymnast. I had a lot of great potential, but my head would get in the way a lot. And as hard as I trained, I could easily talk myself out of performing well in the blink of an eye. So I started using visualization, and it changed my game immediately. It really put me in a more present mindset, in a more positive mindset. I really started to believe my own narrative that if I set my mind to something, I could do it. I could see myself visibly doing these tricks, sticking everything. And I had great success from this. I was not a private club gymnast, which was kind of a big deal at the time. And I was one of only 3 non-private club gymnasts to make it to state finals. And I attribute much of that success to the visualization practice that I started to implement. So today we're going to talk about that we got this mindset versus that this sucks mindset. And one of the first things I want you to think about as you begin to develop your visualization practice is saying out loud what your goals are, sharing it with anyone and everyone that will listen. It's a weird thing to do, but it creates a certain amount of accountability that if we only share it with ourselves, we can let go of that accountability pretty easy. But this allows us to know, oh, I just told Bob, my neighbor, that I'm going to try out for this team, or that I'm looking to get a starting spot this year. And then when you see Bob, Bob's going to ask you and say, hey, how's that working out? How are things going? So that's step one. You need to say it as often as you can. Then the middle part is really where the visualization practice comes into play. And that's, you have to start to see it. And yes, positive imagery is one way to start to see it. But one thing that really helps, and that I'd like everyone to start off with as a practice, is writing down a moment in your life where you just crushed a goal, or you had an outstanding game, you played out of your head, and write down every part of that game from start to finish, even including small details like what it was like when you woke up in the morning, what you ate, what kind of clothes you put on, interactions you had with your friends. All of this stuff will help contribute to your narrative. Finally, I want you to sense it. So still using that approach of your visualization, what you've just written down, I now want you to talk about or write down, what did it feel like in your body? What did you feel like when you were playing out of your head? What did it feel like if you won the game? What did it feel like when you scored that winning goal? Activate every sense. What did you see? What did you smell? What sounds did you hear? Okay? And I want you to practice this. I want you to maybe take a couple of different moments and see which one feels best. So for this week, all I want you to think about are your 3 S's. Saying out loud that goal. Then I want you to actually see it, right? Using positive images, writing it down, seeing it on paper. And then I want you to sense it and really feel how you can activate this. Together, we are going to change that narrative, especially over this quarantined time. So take some time over this week to work on that, and I will check in back with you next week to see how you're doing. Thanks.